top boxing promoter Frank Warren now joins us. Frank has got in touch with the station and wants to join us live. Frank, good afternoon. What do you want to say?
Good afternoon. Actually, I got in touch with you earlier and I said I would like to have gone on while you had Eddie on there, because things he was saying on there referring to this Usyk situation were totally untrue, and I'd like to take him through it and challenge on what he said, because what he was saying was, as always, confusing people, muddying the waters, and it was facts. But he's a master at that.
Well, Eddie has left us now and is no doubt listening to the three of us and to what we're saying.
Back on.
He's in a car and he's heading out of the London Bridge area. But what points specifically do you want to take up with him?
Well, he said categorically, that it's easier to do business with Usyk, and that Tyson didn't want the fight. And I just want to make it very clear for the very last time on this subject, because it keeps going on and on. This is what happened. These are facts, and I can demonstrate them by things that happened in writing and by texts. In December just before December 2022, we agreed terms for Tyson to fight Usyk with skills challenge. Usyk then said he requested more time to fight, and they was talking about putting the fight on in February 2023. We accepted that in writing, and then they couldn't do the date for whatever reason. They said they hadn't built the arena or whatever. There were lots of discussions, lots of talks going backwards and forwards since that thing in February, since we spoke in February. And after we accepted both of their offers, which fell out of bed, and we were told on numerous occasions that we would be getting an offer within a couple of weeks. This was promised both publicly. I think Alex Krasik came out and said that was going to happen, and also that we were told it privately by Skills Challenge. We never ever received an offer. So Tyson accepted the fight. That is a fact. That's what happened. We agreed the terms that were offered. We accepted it. We've had nothing since, and they couldn't deliver. The only fights that have gone on in Saudi, or will go on in Saudi this year, is Tommy Fury's fight and Tyson's fight, which were both Queensberry involved. So,
I mean, the fact of the matter is, Frank, I suppose that the fight couldn't be made. Hearn alleges that Usyk is the easiest fighter to deal with in the fight game when it comes to trying to make a match, if you like, but not on that occasion regarding yourself and Tyson Fury. Is it not fair to say, though, Frank, that we've got an almost farcical situation in that Tyson's next fight is against an MMA fighter?
Well, no, what you just said, Jim, you just brushed that aside. He accepted the fight twice in writing. What are you saying? I don't understand why you just brush over that like it's nothing. He accepted the offer to fight him. He's the one, and his team, he was working with Skills Challenge. They didn't come up with it. They couldn't come up with it for whatever reason. And I'm not knocking him, because at the end of the day, Prince Khalid's a lovely guy to deal with and so forth. But the bottom line is, there was nothing.
Well, you have managed to make Usyk Dubois, so it can't be that difficult to make a fight with.
Who?
Yeah, Dubois will fight Usyk, and you're involved in that.
Because it's a mandatory defence.
Right, so
it's been ordered by the WBA.
I think, judging what I see, from what I see in front of me, Frank, a lot of fight fans say it's all down to promoters. They either make fights or they don't.
That's an easy thing to say. Let me tell you something. The reason it was so easy to make the fight with Usyk, with Joshua, and the reason it was so easy to make the fight with Daniel is because they were both mandatory fights. They weren't voluntary fights. They were mandatory fights. One went to purse bid, which was the fight with Daniel, and that fight had to take place. And the same thing is with AJ and Usyk. He didn't fight for. If he hadn't made the fight, maybe he'd have been stripped. That's why they were easy to make.
But Frank, the point that I think Jim was making, if you listened, which I think you did, listen to the stuff with Eddie in between the fact that we were over talking one another at times, you would have heard me turn around and say that he's not privy to the negotiations that you would have had with Usyk, so he can't speak for how difficult it was or how easy it was any more than you can speak for the discussions that he has. Right? So
I accept that.
We can all accept that. But the point, Frank, is no one is admiring your handiwork here for the Ngannou Tyson Fury fight. That's the point that Jim was making.
No one's sitting.
Your bank balances and Tyson Fury's bank balances.
No. We will determine whether anybody is happy with that fight by the amount of people that watch it and the amount of people that buy it on pay-per-view.
Yeah, but it's a freak show, Frank. It's not befitting of the WBC heavyweight champion of the world fighting a crossover fight because you and he are going to get paid a big bag of money. That's all it is. There's no credibility behind it. There's no substance behind it. It's not befitting of the WBC champion of the world, but it is a very valuable fight economically. That's all it is.
Like I told you at the time, it is, and it will, and it'll all come to light in the next month or so. It will be a game changer. For
and I get it's a gatekeeper. It's a gatekeeper for other relationships, Frank.
And it's not just about it's not just about the fact of the money.
It's all about money, Frank. Come on.
Well, Simon, let me answer that. First of all, the offer was a huge offer, and of course it was accepted because of the size of the offer. But it is a massive event. It's opening a big season there, which is very important for us as promoters to get our feet under that table and work with people who are delivering. They are delivering an event in Saudi.
Well, you can say it that way, Frank. Yeah, and we can all. What we'll do is we'll take it at face value. It's a sprat to catch a mackerel, right? But in isolation, it's a crap fight, and you damn well know it, Frank.
Let me tell you something. We will determine what the event is by what happens, how many people watch it. That will tell you whether there is an appetite for it or not. If there'll be an appetite,
Frank. Like there's an appetite for Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz, right? But let's have it right. We're talking about the generational, bona fide, lineal champion of the world going in against a version of Thunderlips.
You talk about going in with a guy who in his discipline, his sport, UFC, and I'm not a big fan, by the way, of UFC, but he's in his sport, the champion and the heavyweight. I mean, I've hardly watched it, and he's a big puncher, and that's it. And the reason it's going to be exciting while it lasts, because he's not going to outbox Tyson Fury.
Of course he's not.
Going to come out and try and knock him over, and it'll be exciting while it lasts.
But for the boxing world, they will be disappointed. And look, we've got Daniel Dubois versus Usyk, which is a proper fight because of the mandatory perspective.
Yeah.
You've got Zhilei Zhang versus Joe Joyce, which has massive jeopardy on it for Joe Joyce and comes off the back of a really good fight. But our boy at the top of the division that's got lots to say for himself, that pops up on social media telling everyone else what dossers they are, is fighting an MMA guy. And I don't think anyone should run around patting everyone. You can pat your bank manager on the back unless it's Nat West, of course. But the point is this: it's rubbish, Frank.
A couple of weeks before that fight was made, before we accepted the offer, an offer was made to AJ to fight Tyson on a 60-40 basis. He's had his warm-up fight. That was made. And they said they can't do it because they're fighting in December against Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, but Anthony Joshua's not the only game in town, is he, Frank? You could have put Joshua. You could have put him against Ergovic.
And I'm not going to. And you know something? I'm not going to argue about it because the answer to it, I sent Luke, your producer, get me on the phone, and I'll have that now with Eddie Hearn and ask if that's true. You did not do it because I got a message back saying he didn't want to know.
No, hold on, Frank. I'm the one that said to Eddie, no. If it was your hour, Frank, and you was having your say, I wouldn't let Eddie Hearn ambush you either.
Where are we then with the two different people having two different views?
But you're correcting it now, aren't you? You're correcting it now, aren't you?
When you have an election, you get the two parties, you get the two candidates in a debate amongst each other.
But we're not electing you for anything. You're not Biden, and he's not Trump.
But Frank, you've been on. I do get the impression. I think
so. You're the arbiter of it, rather than hearing two people debate the issue.
No, but I also don't think you would have appreciated it if the thing was done. I know it's about you.
Wouldn't have bothered me.
Okay, next time we'll do it. Right, we'll get you on a thorny subject, and then we'll drop you right in the brown stuff by getting somebody to come along and contradict you.
But Frank, you have been on with us, and you have been on live. Thank you very much indeed. It doesn't escape the fact that Fury's next fight is with an MMA fighter, and we now know it's Hellenius that goes in with AJ on Saturday night.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.